Orange County, there's a few races that are interesting. There is most of the school board races were decided tonight, but there's one that's headed to a runoff. Christine Moore is the only incumbent on the school board. I think I have this right. We'll get the numbers up there. But the only incumbent who has not cruised to re-election. It looks like she's going to be going to November. Pam Gould, Kat Gordon both got re-election. Nancy Robinson didn't even have a challenge, but Christine Moore had a couple of challengers, and I think may have some ammunition against her, because if you look at the numbers, I don't know if we can get them up there, but that's a lot of anti-incumbent sentiment. There she is. So she's got 45%, which is strong, but that means 55% of the people decided they didn't want the person who's there. So that's interesting. And you may have, I think you were looking at some of the county commission races in Orange too.
In Orange as well. So, and let's see if we can get those up. The Orange County Commission races have been really interesting. There was an open seat in District 1. The incumbent wasn't part of it. The two kind of front runners, I guess you could say, were Betsy Vanderlei and Bobby Olszewski. And it looks like Vanderlei has edged out Olszewski. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. We're going to a runoff because nobody got the 50% plus
and
one.
And that one was interesting. So, you're not to be blamed on the pronunciation of his last name. It's Olszewski.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. It's a hard
everybody
one.
Mispronounces my name, so that's
true.
What she gets.
That's right,
Bobby.
Kassab. So,
right. There you go.
No, that one was interesting though, because Vanderlei got the mayor of Orange County to jump in and endorse her, which she doesn't always do, and it apparently gave her an edge, but not enough of an edge. That's going to be. And then we also have the race that I know you were following, because it's a lot of the development we've been writing about, Edwards, and we can both pronounce Edwards.
I can say Edwards. Yes, thank you.
So
so Ted Edwards, incumbent in the east section of Orange County, and that was a really hard-fought race. The guy who was making the most noise as a challenger in that race, at least that I saw, was Tim McKinney, who you see here actually came in third.
Right.
So it looks like Edwards is heading into a runoff with Emily Bonilla, and I'm hoping I said Emily's name.
You nailed that.
All right, yes. So so a runoff in that race, and the big driving factor in that race is absolutely, without question, development east of the Yukon River, and whether people want that or not. Now, how much that becomes a factor in the runoff, I think we'll see, but that is certainly what was galvanizing voters on the east side.
On the east side, and I think, because it's the same thing I just said about Christine Moore, 45% isn't bad, but when you're an incumbent, people have had 4 years, actually in Ted Edwards' case, they've had 12 years, because he ran and then went out to watch you, and that means the majority of the people in your district didn't want you back. Now, there's still a good chance he's going to win through this, but he's got some convincing to do, and you're right, it didn't have to do necessarily just because people at the east of the Yukon. I think it was more of a referendum on growth, that a lot of people viewed this as, are we going to have responsible growth in Orange County? And even if you lived in Winter Park, which wasn't going to technically be directed, you have concerns about sustainable growth, about smart growth, about transportation, and I think that's going to be a question that he has to answer a lot.
Absolutely, and I think, we saw the League of Women Voters and other civic organizations here in Orange County get very involved in that growth issue, and it really took on some legs. I expect that will continue to happen over the next couple months. The growth issue is a bit of an issue in some of these other districts as well. But I do want to point out here, we can get to turnout in a few minutes, but in that race especially, when we were talking to some of reporters, and I was talking to Steve Hudak, who covers Orange County, that race had huge turnout numbers. There were some precincts in that district, turnout was well over 30%, which is very, very high for a primary.